Tonight on Nebraska Nightly.
Lawyers argue in front of the U.S. Supreme Court. Should Donald Trump stay off the ballot in some states?
A possible tax increase on tobacco products in Nebraska.
And journalists want flexibility on open records.
This is Nebraska Nightly.
Live from the Don and Lorena Meyer studio at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln College of Journalism and Mass Communications, this is Nebraska Nightly.
Welcome to Nebraska Nightly. I'm Elena Tomish.
And I'm Lance Vi. Our top story today. The U.S. Supreme Court heard a high-stakes case of former President Donald Trump's ballot eligibility. The 9 justices will determine whether to restore Trump on the Colorado primary ballot after the state Supreme Court removed him in December over the 14th Amendment insurrectionist clause in the Constitution.
That seems to be a position that is at war with the whole thrust of the 14th Amendment and very ahistorical. The whole point of the 14th Amendment was to restrict state power. It'll come down to just a handful of states that are going to decide the presidential election. That's a pretty daunting consequence.
The High Court's decision could have major ramifications in other states with pending litigation to remove Trump from their 2024 primary ballots. If the court rules to keep Trump off the ballot before Colorado's primary on Super Tuesday, March 5th, the Colorado Secretary of State says votes for him would not count. This kind of move would extract the justices from one of the most politically fraught appeals in the court's history.
And a proposed State House bill would raise the sales tax on cigarettes by more than 200%. If the bill becomes a law, places like Casey's and U-Stop will have to increase the sales tax of their cigarettes from 24 cents to $2.24. Would this price hike be enough for some people to stop smoking?
It's a little annoying, but I'd say it's kind of fair for the e-cigarettes, but if I was going to quit, it'd probably be more to health reasons than this tax.
Members of the bill say the new tax would either increase the amount of money the state receives from tobacco sales or increase the number of smokers to quit, or both. Governor Pillen wants sales tax revenue to reduce property taxes.
Nebraska journalists are arguing they are paying too much for public records, which makes it harder for them to investigate issues that affect you. The Flatwater Free Press and Nebraska Journalism Trust went to the state Supreme Court yesterday to challenge the price of public records. When reporter Yen-Shi Chu requested emails from the state for her story on nitrate in Nebraska water, she was met with costs of more than $44,000.
I think there's a fundamental constitutional problem with their interpretation, which says if you're ready and willing and able and you live in Lincoln and you go into the government's office and make the photocopies yourself, it's free. But if you live in Scottsbluff, or if you don't have the means, or if you're working during normal office hours, it's $45,000.
The Nebraska Supreme Court will issue a decision at a later date, and we will let you know the outcome.
Well, the city of Lincoln, Omaha, the state of Nebraska, and the Nebraska Balance of State Continuum of Care received more than $15 million to fund programs and develop affordable housing across the state. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development awarded the city of Lincoln $5.1 million to develop affordable housing in Lincoln. The city of Omaha will receive $5 million, and the other $5 million is going to help the state of Nebraska broaden its services and collaborate with local agencies to end homelessness. Mayor Lyrian Gaylor Baird says $300,000 from the grant will be used to fund a permanent supportive housing unit being built near 8th and J Streets. The housing will provide 24 apartments and a multitude of social services to people experiencing homelessness.
With warm temperatures at this time of year, I'm wondering how long they're going to be sticking around. Meteorologist Dominic Ferrero is here with what we should be seeing. Dominic?
Thank you, Lance. It's been a beautiful day here in the capital city. Taking a look at your Friday evening outlook, looking into tonight, 5 p.m., Still sitting 48 degrees, partly cloudy skies. This is sitting 10 to 15 degrees above average for what we're usually seeing this time of year. If you guys are heading out to Nebraska wrestling tonight, big matchup for them. 6 p.m. is when that starts. We're sitting 45 degrees, partly cloudy skies, winds out of the north at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Then after that, sun goes down. Still have a couple lingering clouds here and there. It will be 42 at 7 p.m. Then down to 37 by 9. So if you're going to kind of head out tonight, grabbing a jacket on the way out would be a good idea. And then finally closing out 11 p.m., 35 degrees. A little chilly, but still, that's sitting right about average for high this time of year. So we've had amazing weather, and we're truly blessed to be seeing this. Back to you at the desk.
Great, thank you, Dominic. Well, coming up after the break, Israel has denied a ceasefire offered by Hamas.
And the National Supplemental Security Bill fails to pass.
All after the break.
The need for blood never stops. And at the Nebraska Community Blood Bank, your blood could help save lives. Right now, only 7% of the population donates blood. But imagine if there were more.
We're sitting at below a 7-day level of supply of all blood types across the board. So every blood type is important, and we need all donors of all types to come in and donate right now.
At the Nebraska Community Blood Bank, they believe that all types make a strong blood supply.
Three, two, one.
This is Nebraska Nightly.
If you're a student at UNL and have ever been interested in reporting or video production, Nebraska Nightly is your place.
Big Boss!
Here you can build creative skills no matter how much experience you have.
Our equipment is very, very high level here, and it's something that a lot of times a lot of people wouldn't get to access until they're kind of in a professional workspace.
Talk to a UNL advisor about joining Nebraska Nightly.
Welcome back. Well, with the Super Bowl weekend upon us, let's see what the weather is going to look like in Lincoln. Dominic Ferraro is here with a look ahead. Dominic.
Well, things are sure looking like spring here in the capital city. Currently 48 degrees, mostly sunny skies with winds out of the north at 5 to 10 miles per hour. We're looking ahead into tonight. We'll see a couple stray clouds. We're going to drop down to 29, so a little chilly. Winds will be out of the northwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. And then starting your weekend off on Saturday, partly cloudy skies. 44 for your high, and same story, different day. Winds out of the north at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Looking ahead, we're about the next half a day. So right here, we got a nice established cold front bringing some cold air from Canada, and that's going to work its way south over the next 12 to 18 hours. And that's going to bring some rainy weather down into the southern parts of the state. And it's going to drop us off a little cooler than what we're used to, but still well above average for this time of year. Current satellite imagery, we got a nice pronounced jet stream across the central part of the country here. Here's that colder air I was talking about that's coming down into our area with some higher level clouds down in the southeastern part of the country. Statewide right now, 41 out in Chevron, 44 in Scottsbluff. There's a couple clouds in the northern parts of the state, 36 in Valentine, a little cooler, 44 out in Ord, and then working your way into the eastern part of the state, 39 in Norfolk, a little cooler again because of that cloud cover, and 48 here in Lincoln. So looking ahead to the rest of your week, partly cloudy to start your weekend out on Saturday. Sunday, mostly sunny skies, 45 degrees for the Super Bowl. Shouldn't have any issues with the weather getting to those Super Bowl parties. We'll start in the upper 50s, on Monday and Tuesday, 53, mostly sunny skies. Your Valentine's Day forecast on Wednesday, 51, mostly sunny, and 45 on Thursday. And we'll close the week a little cooler on Friday, but partly cloudy skies and a high of 40 degrees. Back to you at the desk.
On Thursday, former Fox News host Tucker Carlson released an interview with Russian President Vladimir Putin. It is the first interview Putin has given a Western media figure since Russia's invasion of Ukraine nearly 2 years ago. They discussed a range of topics, including the continued detention of Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich, who remains imprisoned in Russia.
We are willing to solve it. But there are certain terms being discussed via special services channels. I believe.
Although Carlson didn't challenge Putin on much during the interview, but Carlson did push back on Putin when he claimed he was working with U.S. Special Services, saying he was just a kid being held hostage.
And Meta has removed the Facebook and Instagram accounts of Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. A Meta spokesperson says the accounts were permanently removed for repeatedly violating its dangerous organizations and individuals policy. Meta did not say how Khamenei's accounts violated the policy, but Meta prohibits accounts that proclaim a violent mission or are engaged in violence. That includes those who glorify, support, or represent groups the U.S. government designates as terrorist organizations. Iran has long been accused of arming Hamas. Khamenei's main Instagram account had more than 5 million followers before its removal. Well, earlier in the week, Republican senators in Washington, D.C. shot down a bipartisan immigration reform bill.
Oklahoma's conservative Senator James Lankford has been the GOP's lead on the bill, and now he is at odds with colleagues in his state. Gaylord News reporter Kevin Palomino reports from Washington, D.C.
As expected, senators failed to pass the National Supplemental Security Bill that would have sent aid to Ukraine and Israel and strengthened the border, make significant changes to border policy, all authored through Oklahoma's Senator James Lankford, but obviously receiving opposition from GOP members both in the Senate and in the House. Hopes on the Hill were short-lived. The bipartisan national security bill written by Oklahoma Senator James Lankford took months of negotiations, but it was killed on the Senate floor after falling short of the 60 votes it needed to pass.
Mr. Schatz. Mr. Schmidt.
This comes after former President Donald Trump called for Republicans to oppose the bill. Soon after, it lost support, including from the Oklahoma delegation.
The Speaker says it's a non-starter. We'll see a vote on the floor, so therefore we won't be voting on it.
Oklahoma Representative Tom Cole saying, "I don't see that this is a House problem. I think that this is a Senate problem. They couldn't get us a product to even consider." Included in the bill was $20 billion for the U.S.-Mexico border, $60 billion to Ukraine, $14.1 billion for Israel, and $10 billion for Gaza. Lankford on the Senate floor giving a speech as a last-minute attempt to sway his colleagues before the bill was voted on.
I understand we have differences, but we've got to sit down together, figure out how we're going to solve problems, because the American people sent us here to do that.
And despite being a short-lived bill, we really don't know if Senator James Lankford is going to attempt and re-salvage the negotiations in the near future. Reporting for Gaylord News in Washington, D.C., I'm Kevin Palomino.
Well, coming up after the break.
Husker football had a huge recruit flip on signing day.
And men's basketball falls to Northwestern.
And the Huskers celebrated National Girls and Women's in Sports Day.
All after the break.
Okay, so how about this much?
I don't know.
Well, how about this much?
I don't know.
How about...
Actually, I don't know.
Okay, maybe this much?
I don't know.
The very tip of your pencil, a fraction of a raindrop, 3 grains of salt. That's how much it takes for a dose of fentanyl to become lethal. Learn more at realdealonfentanyl.com.
Sports are picking up here in Lincoln, and sports reporter Trey Marler is here with more. Trey?
It's February 9th, But we live in Nebraska, so let's talk Husker football. Headliner Wednesday's National Signing Day was the steal of four-star defensive end Keona Wilhite from UCLA to Nebraska. The structure of Nebraska's staff was the biggest deal breaker for Wilhite. That structure, the old school way, the Nebraska way.
First of all, I thought our presence on the road was really well received, and I think we do a good job of that. You know, we're not flashy. You know, we're not a flashy outfit. We don't show up in designer cars or whatever, but we are good at talking about what we believe in and talking about our vision for young people and listening to them.
The World did announce the loss of 5 Huskers due to injury for spring practice during the Wednesday presser. Turner Corcoran is out with a foot injury, Gabe Irvin a torn hip, Ramir Johnson, Malachi Coleman, and Princewell Umielen all out with a shoulder injury. Back to the winter sports, it's Nebraska basketball at Northwestern. All Wildcats early as Boo Buie hits from deep. Northwestern would shoot 50% from 3 in the first half. Nebraska looking to climb back. C.J. Wilcher connects from the corner, but the Huskers still trail 16 at the break. Northwestern too much for the Huskers all night. Brooks Barnheiser with the steal and the big-time slam as Nebraska falls to Northwestern 80-68. They're now 0-7 in Big Ten road games this season. It was one of the most highly anticipated Nebraska debuts that had a devastating ending. Jordy Ball, the Huskers' transfer star pitcher, left last night's game in the 3rd inning with an injury. On Husker Radio this morning, head coach Ronna Ravella said she suffered a knee injury and will be evaluated when the team returns to Lincoln. She is not expected to play anymore this weekend. Here's a look at that weekend schedule down in Puerto Vallarta. The weekend kicked off the weekend with an 8-0 loss to number 7 Washington. This afternoon they fell to Duke 6-1. They're currently looking to get back on track, playing Long Beach State. They're up 6-2 in the bottom of the 5th. They square off with Utah Valley to finish the weekend tomorrow. On Wednesday, athletes all over the country took part in National Girls and Women's in Sports Day. To celebrate here in Lincoln, Husker athletes and coaches got together inside the Hawks Championship Center for a special K-8 event. Nebraska Nightly's Sarah Pearson has more on the impact of these athletes in the community.
This past year has been exceptional for Husker women's sports, and the support from fans has been huge to their success. To celebrate National Girls and Women in Sports Day, Nebraska student athletes had the chance to give back.
The event recognized the growth women's sports has seen and gave aspiring future Huskers the opportunity to meet and interact with their role models.
Remind them that you got to start somewhere, and that at one time in my life I was in their shoes, just had really big dreams.
Basketball standout Alexis Markowski says being a woman in sports has made a huge impact on her life.
I've had so many different experiences to make me into the person I am today, and I try to use my platform to inspire the next generation of athletes and young people.
Let's go! One young girl was inspired by Markowski's teammate, Jazz Shelley.
Because she is the best.
Head gymnastics coach Heather Brink says Volleyball Day in Nebraska helped the world see what women's sports can be.
I think was pretty empowering, and I think when we start passing that empowerment down to the younger generations, to me that's what legacy is about.
It inspires a bunch of people to play volleyball.
Reporting for Nebraska Nightly, I'm Sarah Pearson.
Now, it wouldn't be the sports segment if we didn't bring up the Super Bowl on Sunday. What do you think's going to happen there?
One thing to note, Nebraska does have Randy Gregory, the former defensive end, in it, but I've been a Chiefs fan since I was born. I'm riding the Chiefs all the way. I hope Randy Gregory doesn't get a ring, but if he does, I guess I'll have to live with it and I'll be fine. But go Chiefs all the way.
I'm on that train too. Go Chiefs.
Team Taylor Swift probably is me, but maybe that's just me.
Hey, it's great for the sport. It's great. She's expanding the sport in great ways. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Trey. Coming up after the break.
Get into the Valentine's spirit, events filled with pampering and shopping.
And a murder mystery dinner.
And ski while learning about nature, all after the break. With Valentine's Day coming up, there's a lot going on this weekend in Lincoln.
And entertainment anchor Skylar Sears is here with all the details. Skylar.
All things Valentine are in store this weekend. If you're looking to treat yourself, Lincoln has just the event for you. For some relaxation and pampering this Valentine's Day, the Natural Journey is hosting a make and take event. On Saturday from 3 to 5 p.m. you can get crafty creating custom bath and beauty products using essential oils. On the agenda are perfumes, sugar scrubs, bath salts, room sprays to spread the love, and many more surprises. For just a $15 registration fee that covers materials, you'll leave with sweet smelling goods and new memories with friends. The event is held in the conference room of Scooter's Coffee on 70th and Pioneers. Space is limited, so be sure to visit allevents.in to sign up. You can fill your Saturday night with mystery and passion. From 6 to 9 p.m., the Dinner Detective is hosting a Valentine-themed event called Crimes with Passion. It's all about solving a hilarious mystery while feasting on a killer dinner. That's right, you'll have a full-plated dinner along with an interactive murder mystery with award-winning improv theater. Just beware, the culprit is hiding in plain sight. With love and danger in the air, who knows, maybe you'll get hit by Cupid's arrow yourself. Tickets start at only $61. For more information, visit thedinnerdetective.com/Lincoln. The University of Nebraska is hosting an open house at the Student Observatory tonight. The observatory is located at the Stadium Drive parking garage right next to Memorial Stadium. It is usually only open to students enrolled in astronomy classes, so don't miss your chance to see stars, moon, and the other planets, including Saturn's rings. This event only takes place twice a month and is free to students. For more information, visit events.unl.edu. This Saturday, the Campus Recreational Center is hosting a hike and ski event. They'll provide hot chocolate, coffee, tea, and apple cider while you explore some of Lincoln's largest parks. It is $15 for students, and the guides will tell you about the history of Pioneers Park and teach you about the ecosystems that live there. To register, you can visit crec.unl.edu.
Well, thank you, Skylar. Dominic, before we take off for the day, how is the weather looking for this weekend?
Well, looking pretty good so far. Your 3-day forecast starting out tomorrow on Saturday. Partly cloudy skies, 44 degrees for your high. Then we move in on Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday. Mostly sunny skies, 45 degrees. Just beautiful weather for this time of year. And finally, Monday, we'll see mostly sunny skies and a high of 51 degrees. And that, for this time of year, is just, it's unheard of. It's crazy.
It's time to break out the sunscreen and floaties. That's what I'm talking about.
Go in the pool and it's 45, Lance. You're like
51. I mean, to me, it's been so cold, especially here at the start of January. It's going to feel a lot warmer than just 51.
You got to take advantage of it when you can get it. You know.
Definitely.
Who knows? Next week we might be talking about a snowstorm. So enjoy it while we can, right?
And I voted 3-1. It sounds like so.
Nebraska Nightly is a production of the University of Nebraska's College of Journalism and Mass Communications.
Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next Tuesday at 4:30. Have a great night.